Alright, welcome back, Brush Monkeys. Another week, another unit of demons. This will probably be the last unit out of the Wrath and Rapture box set. This is the Juggernaughts of Khorne. And they are bloodletters on top of these Juggernaughts. They're pretty badass little dudes. This guy is already airbrushed red because I was doing the fade on the swords and just kind of wanted to see how that airbrushed red would look on the demon itself. On the Juggernaut itself, and it looks pretty good. And he touched up a little spot right there on his backside. Oversprayed a lot on the base, which I'm going to kind of have to watch. I may have to mask these guys off. These two, I'm doing the Juggernauts in black instead of red. So this guy will stand out as the leader, and these two will be be riding behind him, kind of thing, in formation. So these two are going to be black with brass trim. That one's going to be red with brass trim. And I may have to mask off the bases for these. The other thing I'm going to have to redo is I noticed, and I don't know if you can see it on this camera or not. You kind of can. The yellow, for some reason, looks green in the shadows. And I don't know why that is. I think it's just, that's one layer of yellow over the black base, and this is, the outside edge is kind of yellow with some orange on it, and so I may need to go back and redo that yellow. Man, I'm gonna have to do the yellow first and then mask it off and do the black on those two guys. So so that's where we're at with that. As usual, I'm going to that's what I'd like to do with these guys. I'm going to also try to do some OSL effects around this emblem on them to kind of make, all their little emblems, and kind of make it look like there's fire inside them glowing out. I think the mouth will probably work out a little bit better with that than it did on the others. Same with the eyes. I'm going to try to do the OSL effect on those two. And yeah, so that's where we're at with those. I'm going to go ahead and do those airbrush touch-ups and then base coat them, and we'll get back to you as soon as all that's done. All right? So I will see you guys in a bit. Okay, I'm back, and I got a little bit ahead of myself. I got all the base coats done and everything, and then I started doing the shade washing already. So I'm not doing a whole lot of shade washing on the gold. I'm mostly just doing the collars, the bracers on the demons, the sword hilt, the standard, things like that. The skulls. Again, with the contrast paints, I'm not having to do a whole lot of shade washing on the demons themselves. So they're almost done. And because of the two Juggernauts in black, and the one being red, I'm not going to have to do a whole lot of shade washing on them either. May do a little bit on the red here. Break out some Kerberg Crimson and shade wash that. But yeah, for the most part, they're going to go pretty quickly. So I'm going to go ahead and finish shade washing them. I kind of forgot I was supposed to be shooting video when I started on the shade washing. So anyway, that's that. I'm going to go ahead and do the shade washing, and then we'll come back and take a look at them, and then we'll start highlighting. You can see I've got my gold Sharpie here for the gold highlights, and make these guys look really spiff. Alright, so I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so the shade washes are done. You can see they're looking pretty good. He's looking quite a bit darker. He's a little more defined, which is always good. And these two guys, the skulls are looking darker. The gold is kind of, well, where I shaded the gold is looking pretty good. Probably what I'm going to do is just pick out some gold. See, I did this horn, shade washed this horn. So I think what I'm probably going to do is go ahead and go do all the golds with the gold paint pen, and then pick out a couple little details like this knot this guy's got hanging on. It's not a hair this guy's got hanging off his chin. I think I may paint that red and shade wash it. It didn't occur to me until I was going through this that I had completely missed that little detail. But I'll I'll go do that now, and then when we I'll do that, and I'll let the shade washes dry, and then I'll come back when I've got the gold highlights done and we're ready to do the blades and the bases, or the blade here, the bases, the skulls. I'll get all the highlights and shadow, let the shade washes dry, do the highlights and whatnot, and then we'll come back and look at the basing. All right. Bye. All right. So I got the shade washes all dry, and I got the highlighting done, and I'm pretty happy with the way these guys turned out. I don't know if you can see that real well on there, but the golds look really nice and vibrant on those guys, especially on the, you can see on the standard there, looks really nice and bright, and the golds really pop on the two black Juggernaughts, but the red Juggernaughts looking pretty good too. And then I lined the OSL there. You can see that I did this kind of object source lighting effect, because I can't get it to, keeps wanting to reflect the light, but I wanted it to look like there was an inner fire that was showing through on those, the emblem on his leg and on his shoulders, and I think that really came out well, especially like that one. I like the right shoulder more than the left shoulder for some reason, but I really like how that came out, and it's a yellow airbrush with white lining in the grooves of the design, and I did the same around the eyes and the mouth. Didn't have to do white in the mouth, but just did yellow around the eyes and then white on the little eyeball itself on all three of them. That came out looking really good. The skulls on this guy look nice and old and weathered on them. I dry brushed the chains. The horn on this guy, I kind of wanted to make it look a little interesting, so I only did the gold highlights on the mouthpiece and on the end of it here, just kind of make it stand out a little more. And they're all looking really, really good. There's a couple little places here and there that I need to touch up with the black, but no, doesn't take too long. Boom, done. So yeah, it's these guys are looking pretty spiff, and so the only thing I got left to do now is the basing and the sword on this guy. And I've been told what I need. Well, I haven't been told what I needed to do. It's been suggested to me that I start posting some tutorials on the Flying Monkey Studios Facebook page. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this guy's sword the same way that I did the Bloodletter's sword. If I can get that tone to come down a little bit. I'm going to try to do this guy's sword the same way I did the Bloodletter sword, where I did the Mordant to Earth up on there, and then and I'm going to do a step-by-step tutorial of that, just picture tutorial, and it's really easy. You know, do the fade on there with the airbrush, paint glue onto it, then paint the Mordant to Earth on both sides, and then it cracks up. So I'm going to go ahead and do the Mordant to Earth, or do the glue on all these guys, leave it overnight, do the Mordant to Earth tomorrow, and check the Flying Monkey Studios Facebook page for that tutorial. Hopefully if I can get my hands on a couple of little bits here and there, I have some other tutorials planned that I'm going to do. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and put the glue on these guys, and I'll be right back. Alright, brush monkeys. So as you can see, the Juggernaughts are pretty much finished. I've textured the bases. The crackle came out really good. I've textured the bases, dry brushed the texture, and now all that's left is to paint the base bands. Now, the same problem I ran into with the Slaneshi demons is these guys are a little too big to just pop these guys on a cork and paint the base bands. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these guys off. I'm going to go ahead and paint the base bands, just kind of picking them up by the figure there, and then I'm going to put them in the spray box for the airbrush and do the Army Painter coat on them there, matte seal them that way. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and look at the finished figures. All right. So these guys are just about finished. All right, Brush Monkeys, the Khorne Juggernaughts are finished. They are looking pretty spiff. I'm pleasantly surprised that the Army Painter Anti-Shine didn't actually knock a whole lot of the gloss off the brass parts of these guys. So they're still looking pretty brassy. They're looking pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with the way they turned out. The OSL around the eyes and around the emblems on them, looking pretty good. The contrast paint came out on the demon pretty nicely. I'm really liking how these guys came out. So I think I'm going to call these guys done and wrap up this video then. All right. That wraps up our several months of the Realm of Chaos, Wrath, and Rapture boxed set. This has been a fantastic couple of months painting all these figures. I've got to paint a lot of stuff I've never painted before. I've got to paint a lot of stuff that I have painted, but I've painted them better. So it was a good journey. I think it was a really fun. I don't know what's coming up next, but it's going to be something cool. I've got a couple of ideas in the works. So stay tuned. If you like this video, hit like down below. If you want to be notified when new videos come out, click on subscribe. And in the meantime, if you want to see all the miniatures I've painted on this channel, go to our Instagram page or all the different ways that you can support me in doing what I do here. So, and if you like what I do, throw me a couple of bucks. If you hate the videos, if you hate the audio, throw me a couple of bucks and I'll buy some better equipment. I mean, that's all dependent on you guys. So if you don't like the video, buy me a new camera.